Com. The birthday boy and the vice president general manager of the Crimson Tide Sports Network is Jim Carabin. Our studio engineer and producer, our producer and on-site engineer, I should say, is Tom Stipe. Ethan Sargent is our studio engineer, and Ethan Carabin provides our social media video feeds for us each week as well. For all of those gentlemen and the rest of us at the Crimson Tide Sports Network, I'm Chris Stewart. Thanks for joining us. Roll Tide, and good night from Baumhauer's Victory Grill.
Baumhauer's Victory Grill in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show has been brought to you by Alpha Insurance. Auto, home, life, business. Alpha Insurance covers it all. AlphaInsurance.com. Also brought to you by Ford, proud partner of the Crimson Tide. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Make Baumhauer's Victory Grill your big game headquarters all season long. Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota. Let's go places. And by Bud Light. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
It's football season, and the only place to catch every game is the End Zone. With NFL Sunday Ticket, big screen TVs, and all the sports you love, we've got your playbook for fun. 2 family-friendly non-smoking locations. Midtown on McMurtry next to Target, and on Cecil Ashburn Drive. Jumbo wings, cheeseburgers, Tex-Mex, pizza, plus daily specials, happy hour, big draft beers, and frozen margaritas. Open for lunch daily at our Midtown location. The End Zone, where every seat's the best seat in the house.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
Well, welcome. We're here today to celebrate a tough team, a storied football program. This year's Commander-in-Chief Trophy winners, the Army Black Knights. We're also joined by Army's football's biggest fans, Bill and Steve of the radio show Crawdads Countdown to Kickoff. Well, thanks for making a trip from Alabama.
Welcome, Army sports fans, from sea to shining sea. This is Bill Crawdad Crawford, and the sound of my voice lets you know it's time for Army Black Knight football. And I'm joined, as per usual, with the human Ouija board, Steve Cripey.
Yes, sir.
And also with the dirt pig, Barrett Crawford.
Glad to be here.
Hey, we're all glad to be here. And, folks, we have a special treat tonight that we're going to get right into, and that's the Army Athletic Director, the 31st Athletic Director, Tom Theodorakis. Sir, are you there?
I am here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, thanks for having you. Hey, thanks for being with us. But right off the bat, a little matter of protocol, how to properly address you, Tom, or as I heard you tell a lot of people, Theo.
You know, in athletics, especially with a long Greek last name, Theo became my nickname. So Tom certainly is okay. I've been called worse, but Theo's my nickname and what most people know me by.
Well, I know that's what I heard you introduce yourself to, actually, when I was up there for my reunion, which, by the way, you did a great job. And
thank you.
And we're going to go ahead and just begin our discussion. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll jump into the deep end of the pool. The velocity of change on the college football or college athletics landscape over the last just few years, everything from NIL, transfer portal, revenue sharings, all those kind of things. So my question is really twofold. You know, what impact, if any, has that had on West Point to date? And what potential changes do you see at West Point based on some of these emerging changes?
Well, those are great questions. And let me start off by just saying this. Again, I just want to thank all of you for the opportunity to be on this platform. I don't take it for granted. We don't take it for granted that you cover these amazing cadet athletes. And the cadet athlete story is a story that needs to be told. So again, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to cover us, and it's much appreciated. Just know that.
It's an honor.
Thank you, sir.
So listen, the college landscape, it's, I don't have the crystal ball in front of me, right? So it's hard to figure out what this is all going to look like. But I've said this a couple times. I think where I go back to is really understanding the mission and the vision and the values of the United States Military Academy. And I think that's really important when you start talking about all these institutions that play football at such a high level. And I think in so many ways we actually benefit from this college landscape, where I do think there's an identity crisis with some of these schools with the amount of resources they're dedicating, with how they're allocating money, and how long could this type of format, this type of structure last? And I think the great thing about the academy is, and I've challenged our coaches with this, is try to find the opportunity in all of this. And as all of you know, it's going back to the greatest hits. What makes Army so special? What makes West Point so special? And for me, it starts with, it's such a powerful degree. It's such a powerful institution that is always going to resonate with young men and women who want to be challenged, who want to have a fantastic education, who want to serve their country. And I think that's something that we offer that no one else can match. And it's really selling that long-term vision, not necessarily short-term NIL money, but it's saying, you know what, this is the value of this education. And if you go through this process, the end result is, you know what, you can own a hockey team one day. We have two of those examples in the NHL.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we
do. Stanley Cup winners.
But also you can have a lifelong, military service and be a general officer. Or, there's just so many examples of so many amazing men and women who have gone through this institution to say, hey, if you go down this track, it's pretty special. And I think a lot of other places, they're thinking very short term. And in so many ways, the West Point education really separates ourselves from everybody else. And on top of that, I'd also say, we have the ability to build teams here. I think our roster, we can have a pretty large roster. We can develop our cadet athletes, and we have the prep school here too. So in so many ways, we can work within our system, which is unique, to say, you know what, over year over year, our team photo, our team picture looks relatively the same, where we can build cohesion, we can build a culture. And when I talk to other ADs, I talk to other coaches, the first thing they talk about is, how do we build a culture with a team when we have new faces every single year? Wow. So I do think in so many ways, yes, it's not perfect. It's never going to be, but I go back to what makes Army special. And I think that's always what's going to separate us from everybody. But, to your second part, I think where it is difficult for us is if we do lose a player to Arizona State, and we do lose a player to Georgia or Virginia, we can't go to the transfer portal and pick somebody up, and plug them back in instantly. So the quick fix isn't there for us. So we have to rely on our deep bench, our roster, to find the next person to kind of stand in for them and replace them. But, we have found in some of our other sports that the transfer portal has been helpful, where if you do want to transfer to the academy, you actually have to start the clock over and start from the beginning. And there's some individuals who have taken a year somewhere else who said, you know what, maybe the academy was the right place for me. I made a mistake and want to come back. So I know I gave you a lot of answer there, but hopefully you have an idea of kind of how we're trying to see this landscape moving forward.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Bill, that was a great answer. And one thing I want to do, I should have done this. I apologize, but we all know who you are and we know you, and just take a minute to introduce yourself to our listening audience. Just tell them who Theo is.
Yeah. So, for me, I'm very fortunate to be here in the role here at Army West Point. I've been in the position now for 8 months. I can't believe I'm saying that. Prior to that, I was serving as the deputy athletic director under Mike Buddy for 2.5 years. But I've been working in college athletics close to 20 years. I was a student athlete at Syracuse University, where I played lacrosse there. I was on the national championship lacrosse team there. And that's where I learned my quote unquote why, so to speak. If it wasn't for such amazing teachers, professors, coaches that kind of put me down this track for success in that NCAA model, I don't know where I'd be today. So I very much have dedicated the rest of my life to this space, to college athletics, because I just believe in it, and it had such an impact on my life. So I've worked at the University of Arizona, UCLA, and also Harvard. So I've seen what success looks like outside the gates of West Point and also inside the gates of West Point. So I feel very fortunate in that regard. And, from a personal level, I grew up in New York, and I grew up about 30 miles east of New York City. So I have a lot of family who's still in the state. I used to go to summer camp at West Point. So in so many ways, this is home for me.
Yeah, that is great. Well, hey, sir, this is Barrett Crawford. My question's kind of a hit on that NIL and kind of the culture of the cadet life. And, it's a very unique athletics with the service academies, because in the summertime, we're not able to, heal our wounds, but we're going out to the field and doing some training. But how do you see the cadet athletes and, with all the sports at West Point, how do you see them like kind of looking at the NIL outside? Are they affected by it, or are they're just here to be on the team and to win and crush Navy?
No, I think they are affected by it. I think it's our job to constantly remind them of the path they're going down and the opportunities in front of them. And I think that's something where we benefit a lot from our staff here at the academy, the leadership of the academy, because they're a walking embodiment of what it looks like to be a graduate and the endless possibilities of going through this track. So, I think as you go through this journey, this 47-month journey just here at the academy, I think you realize, hey, the finish line isn't just at graduation. I think they're real excited about what the finish line looks like, after graduation and looking at that next opportunity. So we have to constantly educate them through a multi-pronged approach of realizing the opportunity I have here and how it's different and special, more special than anywhere else in the country.
And
doesn't mean it's easy, by the way. It's hard.
Yeah.
And I think, in so many ways, we have to embrace the hard, and that's why we try to connect with them as much as possible.
Hey, Theo, one thing you can also tell folks is when you have the benefit of being out of West Point for 45 years like I do, you got a friend in every state in the union, and that's not an exaggeration. And
that's a great point. The long gray line is what separates us, sir. You're exactly right.
Yeah, when we get together, beer sales are pretty good at all the reunion spots. So.
No doubt about that.
Hey, this is a question I ask you at the reunion, and I've had a lot of people who want to hear some more about it. So it's not a setup, but that we just a lot of people want to know about the future of Army Navy, given the conference championship game and the fact that it's not really the only game on TV that day. Is it just give us some insight on that about what the academy leadership is looking at regarding that issue.
Yeah, so I will tell you, we're being very thoughtful about it. The Army Navy game is special. It's special to Army. It's special to Navy. It's special to our country. And it's special to CBS and some of our great partners who have invested a lot into it to say, you know what, this is a story that needs to be told in the national spotlight. I also will tell you, going back to your earlier question about just this ever-changing landscape, we need to protect the game as much as possible. And things that are threats to the Army Navy game are things like expanded playoff, trying to plan our date, quote unquote. So I think for us, it really is, and we've already gone to work on this, trying to understand as much as possible what this landscape is going to look like and what we can continue to do to make sure the game not just doesn't stay where it is, but how can we work together to make sure it's on the biggest, highest platform possible and has as many eyeballs as possible, because these cadets deserve it. The story needs to be told to as many people as possible. So, as a whole, we work very closely with Navy and our partners to make sure not only is the game preserved, but what are we doing in the future to make sure that we're doing our best to make sure that game is seen by as many people as possible and played on a date that makes sense.
That's good to hear. Yeah. The change we're talking about, is it's probably felt no greater area than in college football specifically. And it seems like some of the momentum that's out there right now is moving toward taking what is now the FBS and potentially creating 2 tiers. And, going back to the Parcells Commission, he sort of asked the academy, okay, at what level do you want to compete, and what resources commitment does that take to compete at that level? So as you all are looking at that and the potential further changes in college football and the tiers, if you will, what direction is Army going? Are they going to try to hang with what is now the Power 4 conferences? Are looking at that second tier? What are y'all leaning toward?
No, we want to compete at the highest level. That's what Army does. But it also needs to make sense within our infrastructure. So, but there's a reason why we joined the American, and that's so we can get a seat at the table. And that's so, using last year as an example, we won 12 games. We were a couple, one win away potentially of being in the college football playoff. So we're right there. We've shown that there is a path, and we want to be as competitive as possible in this landscape. But it needs to make sense to Army West Point. And honestly, the mission of us graduating leaders of character and second lieutenants, that we're never going to derive from that. But can 2 things be mutually exclusive? Doing that and also winning at a high level? I think so.
Well, speaking of the American Conference, if you listen to our last radio shows, we've talked about how the American right now is looking pretty good in terms of the college football landscape. But you kind of hit on it.
There's no off weeks.
Exactly. And you kind of hit on it. We want to compete at the highest level. I think the American Conference is kind of stepping it up, every year. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on what the American Conference means to Army, coming in there and winning it the first conference championship last year, but kind of what you thought about the American Conference overall.
Yeah. So it's been amazing. I'll tell you, when we made that decision to go into the American, it wasn't an easy one. And back when Mike Buddy was the AD here and part of his leadership team we thought long and hard about this. And as you guys know, we were in Conference USA previously.
Oh, yeah.
And that didn't go well.
No.
Right? So we wanted to be very thoughtful about, hey, is this the right move? Because a lot of people loved our independence. But the way, again, going back to just adapting, which is a theme here, it's like, hey, we need to understand what's going on in the landscape, where how can we position ourselves to make the most appropriate move to put ourselves in a position for success. And it was not an easy move to go to the American. It's a great conference, but there was some scar tissue from what happened previously. But the more and more we did research and the more and more we connected about, doing our due diligence, it was, you're playing in cities that are very, that make a lot of sense for West Point. You talk about Texas, you talk about Florida, North Carolina. These are areas that are important to West Point, that are important to the military. So for us to play in these areas and these pockets is important for us waving the flag at West Point and really key recruiting areas for us, and also where our alumni are. And then on top of that, it's, hey, you know what? How great would it be if we do win this conference, to have a seat at the table and to compete for a conference championship? And I'm not saying we called it, or we're clairvoyant in any way, but for us to go 12, to win, to go undefeated in conference is remarkable. It's just we were able to strike while the iron's hot. We had the right team at the right time, and I think you saw it. You saw our fan base really get to buy into these week-to-week matchups, where all of a sudden you're following Tulane, you're following South Florida, you're following all these other teams that you never maybe really watched before, and you're saying, how does this affect us? Who's the player of the week? We love these opportunities for our cadets now to win player of the week, to see Tim Pernetti hand the conference commissioner, the championship trophy at Mikey Stadium to Bryson Daly, to Coach Monken. Those are memories that they'll never forget, and I know our fans will never forget. So, as far as the American experience, I now working with Tim Pernetti, who's one of the best commissioners in the country, I have no problem saying that. He's the absolute best and a great partner to work with. I like where we're at. But you're exactly right. This conference is hard. And it's hard for me not to think that the winner of this conference is not going to, be competing in the college football playoff.
Well, we almost did it last year, and Theo, let me switch gears with you just a bit to a topic that I lived last week, and that is the Michie Stadium renovation. Could you give us an update on that, and then I have a follow-on once you do?
Yeah, the most aspirational project in the history of Army West Point athletics. $170 million building. And we say Michie Stadium is not just a stadium; it's a portal. It's a portal, as you know. It's our day starts there. Also, graduation. We have our lacrosse teams that play there, and also football. So, in so many ways, an Army football game, which hosts 30,000 people or more, is an opportunity for us to tell the West Point story. You have a lot of families that come here that are coming on to post and learning about West Point, and we use that proverbial. Athletics could be the front porch of an institution. And, we had 9 million eyeballs on CBS during the Army-Navy game when Tulane was playing at Michie for the conference championship. We had 2 million people watching us on ABC on national television. So, for us to invest in Michie Stadium, I think is going to really impact not just athletics, not just Army football, but the institution as a whole. And there's a lot of things that we just, Michie Stadium, it's beautiful. It's 100 years old, one of the most iconic venues in the country. But, we just didn't have any premium spaces. It didn't have many suites, many club areas. And when you start talking about that type of experience, we're a little bit behind there, to be candid with you. So I think this is, once this project is done, which is going to be next football season, I'm knocking on wood right now, that we're going to be it's going to just enhance the fan experience and the opportunities at Mike. Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
I'm excited about it as well. It's been fun watching it take shape over the months here. Want to widen the aperture a little bit. Outside of just maybe just a few select teams, the rest of the athletic teams compete in the Patriot Conference or Patriot League. So. Again, back to that theme of, the velocity of change in, college athletics. Mm-hmm. Do you envision a scenario where maybe some or all the teams you might be looking for options of another conference destination for those other athletic teams?
Yeah, so I think the Patriot League's been very good to us. It's definitely a league that's aligned with our values, and from an educational standpoint, I think it's really associated with some great schools. The Patriot League also makes a lot of sense as far as region for us. And that does play a big part in everything we do. So the Patriot League has been a great partner of ours. It makes a lot of sense from us across the board. So I know I don't envision anything changing from that standpoint, but I also will tell you the last thing I can ever tell you is be certain on anything in this landscape. But
really,
the Patriot League, very much like-minded schools, and day in, day out, it's fun to watch them compete in it.
Hey, Theo, I think we're going to let you go here in a second, but okay. I do have one final question from you from my recent game day experience. I was just wondering if there's any possibility for something, especially while you're down to 2 entrances to the stadium, to have something like a TSA pre-check where if you're up there for a reunion and you've got a lanyard that says I'm here, I'm a graduate, or even something that you could have people pay for the privilege in their ticket purchase that might allow them to bypass the plebes with the waving wands.
Yep. That's a great question, and I'll tell you, it's an area we struggled in, to be candid with you. We say Michie Stadium was built to keep the British out. It wasn't. The whole academy as a whole. So it's like when Michie Stadium was there, it's built in a mountain, and nothing about it is necessarily the most customer friendly. Does that make sense? It's just not easy accessible. Everything's kind of on a hill. So I think we do have some inherent challenges with where Michie Stadium's located. By the way, on top of that, imagine, we're playing in a construction site right now.
Yeah.
So we're so limited. Literally half the stadium is offline. So, we're down to 2 entrances. It is very difficult. And what we've told folks is try to get to the gates as early as possible, even earlier than expected, no matter how beautiful it is outside and how great the tailgates are going in the parking lots. We're just limited to the amount of entrances into the stadium and exits. So it just makes for a difficult, unfortunate situation, but it is temporary. And I'll tell you what I'm really excited about is next year not having that issue and opening the other side of the stadium and honestly connecting Mikey Stadium to Lusk Reservoir and this whole Victory Plaza area that we'll have that I think is going to be absolutely gorgeous, and get Black Knight Alley back. So I think, unfortunately, this year is just going to be difficult, and I appreciate everyone being very patient with us. My hope is in the future that, can we find ways to make it easier to get in and out? That's my hope.
So just to ensure we don't end on a negative topic there.
That's not
negative. So final question to you. So when you move on from West Point, whether that's 5 years or 20 years from now, and people see your fingerprints on the athletic program, what are you hoping that they see in terms of the resulting from your tenure in that position?
Well, I don't like this question because I don't want to leave West Point.
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yay.
Best place on the planet. So, no, I wholeheartedly believe it. There's nothing better than West Point. Listen, I think it's about the cadets, and are we making sure that we're impacting their lives? And I'll go back to, how are we helping further the mission of the United States Military Academy and developing the very best leaders of character and second lieutenants that are going to go on to serve our country and defend our freedom. And my hope is to play some small part in that. That's all you can ask for.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Well, hey, Theo,
by the way, we need to be winning the CIC and be beating Navy. I should have said all this stuff.
It goes without saying.
Well, Theo, we're going to let you go. And one final word. We're having Steve and I are on the tailgate committee for the UAB game, and I will go through Eric and make sure that you get an invite to come over there and say a few syllables. We're going to have tons of alumni before the game, so hopefully
I can't wait for that.
Hey, we're going to be fun. I'll buy you a cup of coffee at 7:30 in the morning and a cold beer at 3. So thanks for coming on with us tonight, perfect. Coach. That was just an awesome interview.
Thank you.
And we are glad you were here with us.
Again, I appreciate everything you guys do for us. It means a lot.
Okay. Hey, beat the Pirates.
There we go. Beat the Pirates.
All right. Folks, that was our new athletic director, Tom Theodorakis. And that was a great interview. We'll be back shortly.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Did you know that average home equity is at an all-time high? But so is average consumer debt. Even though rates are higher now, you can use your equity to pay off your high consumer debt, student loans, etc., then refi when the rates drop. Don't put off that new home purchase. When rates drop, prices will go up. Buy now and get the best price and then refi when the rates drop. This is the time to talk to the experts at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com for more information.
This is Bill Crawford with Crawdads Countdown to Kickoff. I've recently had a stem cell procedure on my right knee from Dr. Charles Lee of Regenesis. Stem cells are harvested from your body and re-administered back into your body. This approach is painless, quick, and requires no lengthy rehab. My knee feels better already. Regenesis is located at 4601 Whitesburg Drive in Huntsville, Alabama. Call 256-715-8193 or Google their website for more information.
Firehawk Aerospace is a non-traditional defense contractor advancing the state of propulsion to strengthen the U.S. Defense Initiative. Founded in 2019, Firehawk Aerospace established early leadership in manufactured propulsion with the development of 3D printed hybrid rocket fuel grains. Visit firehawkaerospace.com to learn more. That's firehawkaerospace.com.
Organizations using Salesforce know how powerful the platform is and how much time, money, and headaches it saves if it's set up right and you know how to use it. Let's face it, Salesforce is complicated and time-consuming to figure out, and a lot can go wrong now and down the road without expert help. That's why most Salesforce users work with an implementation partner like Higher Echelon, so they get the absolute most out of their Salesforce investment. Higher Echelon is a 5-star Salesforce consulting partner who won Salesforce Military Hiring Partner of the Year. President Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached coached for the cadets. He puts that experience to good use at Higher Echelon, where they pride themselves on hiring veterans. Look, not all Salesforce partners are the same. Don't put your company at risk by going with an inferior partner. Higher Echelon is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army.
Since 1983, Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate's Ann Adams has been your local go-to real estate expert in the area. As a buyer, you can trust Ann's in-depth knowledge of the local housing market to narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in, saving you time when shopping for a new home. When you're ready to sell, Ann's expert negotiation skills will ensure you get a fair price and hassle-free experience. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or email annadamsrise@gmail.com.
Tom Abraham here from my friends at Your Home Window. Now is the time to take advantage of their huge end of summer sale and get ready for the fall. Right now, all windows are 35% off. All exterior doors are 40% off. Now you get the whole door, just the price is 40% off. And get this, 0% interest for 18 months, as in no interest, nada, none. As always, the estimates are free, as is the lifetime warranty. To make an appointment, go to yourhomewindow.com. That's yourhomewindow.com.
Talking Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Weekday mornings beginning at 7 a.m. only on 97.7 ESPN and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Bill Crawdad Crawford. This is Crawdad's Countdown to Kickoff. Just want to remind you briefly to support all our sponsors. I know you listen to the commercial, you hear that I had a stem cell transplant from Regenesis, and that knee feels better every day.
Hopping up and down on it, huh?
Knee, I heard it was a shot in the brain.
There's no hope there.
No, okay.
No hope there. And also want to remind people to drop by Nick's Ristorante, which is a driver and a pitching wedge south of the intersection of Bailey Cove and Weatherly. Chef owner Tom down there has something going on every Saturday at 2:00 for football. Come down there and see me. And we have to have a short segment now because we blew through a break, but we want to talk a little bit about our interview with the athletic director. I was blown away. I was so impressed with everything he had to say.
Yeah, I tell you what a great ambassador for the academy and for academy sports there. But we've often said about Coach Monken. The phrase that I keep hearing about him is Monken gets it. He understands the academy culture. He understands its place, not only within college football, but he understands in the context of our country and the history. I would say the same thing about the AD. He has embraced it. We take it for granted as grads. We understand. We experienced it. But it just seems like, he in a very short time there. Now, granted, he was 2.5 years there as the deputy, but still, he gets the culture, he gets the mission, he gets the vision, and what a great ambassador.
Oh yeah, I completely agree, and I think his having the lasting impact of just touching a cadet's life to make them a better second lieutenant when they commission in the United States Army, that's huge. And I think having the premier athletic facilities, competition, and the high stakes, the highest competition, I think that improves a cadet, when they do get out in the Army, to have that, competitive edge about them, to make those quick decisions under stress and, to lead their teams into victory. And so, but he touched on something, NIL is a huge part of college football, but I think the way he described how to overcome that challenge at West Point is just perfect. The lure of the academy and, getting those right people into the academy to play football and to play the sports, I think is a huge deal. And I wish I could go back in a heartbeat, Yeah.
And the other similarity that I picked up with Monken is that both of them communicated, not that athletics, you got the athletics over here, and then you got the Corps cadets over here, and their Corps cadets doing that military thing, leadership development, and that it's a separate thing. They see their role in the cadets, athletes that they touch, that it reinforces and adds to that leadership development. And I love that these things aren't stovepiped. They see them as one.
Yeah, they're all meshed.
Well, one thing Theo did not mention this, but at my little reunion where we had a question and answer session with the Soup, who, by the way, said he listens to this radio show. How about that?
Hey, look at that.
He said, yeah, I listen to your show, Crawdad. But one thing the Soup mentioned is he said, this NIL stuff, we've had this figured out for a long, long time. He said, we've been paying our cadet football players half second lieutenant pay for quite some time. Now, Steve, when you and I were second lieutenants, half second lieutenant pay wouldn't even pay your bill at the O Club, but
maybe not your bill.
It didn't pay mine. But now that's enough money for those guys.
Yeah, and and Bear and I were talking about it during the break. I've always felt like that was something pre-NIL they should have emphasized a whole lot, because you talk to any college athlete, it's a year-round gig now. The off season and all of that is happening on top of your academics and stuff like that. So a lot of these guys holding down a part-time job so I can buy toothpaste is not an option. Well, here's the academy, man. We give you effectively a monthly stipend, is what it boils down to. That you've got that discretionary income to take care of those essentials, and I think that is on par what 3-star athletes to other schools are being offered. And that's really our ceiling in terms of football recruits. So we're ahead of the ball game.
We will never compete with Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and people like that in the $4 million quarterbacks that are running around out there. But hey, so what? Plus, you get 3 good meals a day in the mess hall and a place to sleep and
a snappy new uniform.
And you get the opportunity to march around on the parade field every now and then. So it's a good deal. Good deals abound, sir.
Oh yeah. Well, another thing, just he talked about the American Conference and how what a great strategic move that was to get Army to join the American Conference. It hits those key cities that, there's a lot of veterans, there's a lot of Army presence there. I just felt like going we're stoked for the Army UAB game down here in Birmingham, if you can't tell. I remember, as soon as we saw that on the calendar, I was circling that, because how many times do you get to go watch Army play football besides the Army Navy game? Or maybe they would come to, Dallas to play Air Force, in the big, Army Air Force game. But for them coming down to Alabama to play UAB, or when they went down to play Troy and stuff too, that's a big deal for everybody down here. So I think it was a great move to move to the American, and the Americans kicking butt sometimes too.
Oh yeah. We are the top tier, G5 conference currently in college football.
And Steve, as you pointed out, so appropriately, I can't hardly get that word out. North Texas was our first conference loss.
Last week, our very first conference loss, because we ran the tables last year.
And it was almost a win. So, hey, we got to get out here, Brody. We owe you a break, and we'll come back in a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit about that overtime defeat. There was a whole lot of good in that thing, and there were some things we can do better. Crawdad, back in a few.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go higher and go Army.
Firehawk Aerospace is a non-traditional defense contractor advancing the state of propulsion to strengthen the U.S. Defense Initiative. Founded in 2019, Firehawk Aerospace established early leadership in manufactured propulsion with the development of 3D printed hybrid rocket fuel grains. Visit firehawkaerospace.com to learn more. That's firehawkaerospace.com.
This is Bill Crawford with Crawdads Countdown to Kickoff. I've recently had a stem cell procedure on my right knee from Dr. Charles Lee of Regenesis. Stem cells are harvested from your body and re-administered back into your body. This approach is painless, quick, and requires no lengthy rehab. My knee feels better already. Regenesis is located at 4601 Whitesburg Drive in Huntsville, Alabama. Call 256-715-8193 or Google their website for more information.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Are you thinking about home improvements? Well, use your equity now and refi later. Or use your equity to eliminate consumer debt forever, then refi to a lower rate and shorter term when rates drop. North Alabama Mortgage can also help you if you're thinking about buying an investment property or a second home at the lake or the beach or in the mountains. We have great programs to make that happen. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Your Fox 54 weather.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy and overcast sky this afternoon. Temperatures only climbing into the low and mid-80s, but we're also talking about showers and thunderstorms through the course of the afternoon. That activity could linger as we head into the evening. Some of those thunderstorms could be on the stronger end of the spectrum, and we'll maintain the chance for a little bit of rain or even a couple of thunderstorms as we head into the overnight and then through Thursday afternoon.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back, everybody, to the almost final segment of Crawdads Countdown to Kickoff. We're going to talk a little bit about the last game with the Mean Green of North Texas, and we're going to do the
Can't even hear it. Can't even hear it.
the good, the bad, and the ugly, but we're going to focus a lot on the good. Steve, I'll start with you.
Okay, I'm going to start with the great, good, and bad, and the ugly. To me, the great was, before the end of the first quarter, Army is down 21-0. It would have been very easy for the team to sort of assume the fetal position over in the corner of the end zone and raise the white flag.
Or as we say, stack arms.
Yeah, exactly. But the way that they fought back, they dug their own hole. But, like Barrett was saying, halftime, I think this game,
I was calling it quits.
Yeah, and but fortunately the team didn't call it quits, and they fought back, and the fact that they took it to overtime is just, talk about some bulldog tenacity and never say die kind of attitude. I thought that was fantastic. That's something you can build upon.
Yeah, I agree. Coming back from a 21-point deficit, taking it in, tying it up at the fourth quarter and then taking it overtime. I think that was, it showed that whatever adjustments the coaching staff made, not only was it in halftime, but it was all the way throughout the game. My good is Dwayne Coleman. From not being named the starter to, Kel Helms getting, pulled and putting Dwayne Coleman back in there. And then he just unleashed the fury of him. I think he showed up in that game, did a outstanding job in terms of running the ball and passing the ball. I mean, what was one of the passes we had? 68-yard pass.
Oh, yeah.
My gosh, So I think my good is, Dwayne Coleman coming back into that game and kind of getting us back in there.
Okay, Brody, hit it.
Well, it's a finely tuned operation.
Okay, it didn't work.
He'll have
tried.
it queued up for next time.
But my good on that team was, when you think about it, we had 488 yards of offense, 387 on the ground. Coleman had 117. Hayden Reed had 113. And Briggs Bartush, that's a hell of a name.
Bartosh.
He had 99 yards. One more yard, we would have had 3 100-yard rushers. And that's Army football right there.
Yeah. And 387 yards rushing.
5.7 per carry.
That is Army football. And yeah, to see them, again, right the ship, get after it. But again, against, a very capable, North Texas defense, they did, here we go. Yeah, nicely done.
There you go. All right, go ahead.
Well, yeah. So, I think another good too is, I think one of the reasons most Army fans don't see this as just a crushing loss, but more of a disappointment is that we kind of controlled the outcome of that. When it was the fourth quarter and we needed to get into field goal range to tie it up or to get the touchdown, we controlled the ball. And there was no doubt when we were in the red zone that, hey, we're about to win this game. If we do and I think we tried that. We tried to pass it in the end zone. It didn't work. And so we got to settle for the field goal to go into overtime. We were in control. In overtime, defense was a little shaky, let North Texas get that touchdown, but then we got the ball back. We controlled the faith. There was that 4th and 5 play. We shot it in the end zone. So I guess for me, the good is that we controlled the outcome, and it was a disappointing last play, throwing it in the end zone, getting it tipped, it was so close to being a touchdown, so to me, it was just the offense having control that entire, second half almost.
Yeah. Well, another good thing to me, and it really was impressive if you were there in the stands where I was, down about 4 rows up, actually got on the field with my media pass. How about that? But when we went into overtime, the first thing Jeff Monken did was he ran over to the Corps of Cadets and got those guys hopping and popping.
Oh, yeah, they showed it on TV too. Yeah. He's firing them up.
Well, that tells me what kind of coach we have.
Oh, yeah.
I really like to see that.
Again, he gets it. Yeah. Maybe to touch on a couple negatives, of course, 3 turnovers, as was the case in Tarleton, is the obvious one. But the one that I was real disappointed that was not Black Knight football was a lot of the tackling. There were just so many cases. It was sort of the Ronnie Lott style. If I just run into him hard enough, he's obligated to fall over. And the number of times that I saw our defenders bouncing off of the ball carrier and not wrapping up, like we were talking about before the thing. Back when I was coached on, playing linebacker, it was put the face mask between the numbers and wrap up. And we need to do a better job of that.
Well, we do. And Brody says we need to do a better job of getting our breaks on time. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here. And we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Coach Jerome Gaines used to say to me, if you can't read their numbers, you can't tackle them. So same thing, Steve. Back for our final segment in a bit.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
Firehawk Aerospace is a non-traditional defense contractor advancing the state of propulsion to strengthen the U.S. Defense Initiative. Founded in 2019, Firehawk Aerospace established early leadership in manufactured propulsion with the development of 3D printed hybrid rocket fuel grains. Visit firehawkaerospace.com to learn more. That's firehawkaerospace.com.
Organizations using Salesforce know how powerful the platform is and how much time, money, and headaches it saves if it's set up right and you know how to use it. Let's face it, Salesforce is complicated and time-consuming to figure out, and a lot can go wrong now and down the road without expert help. That's why most Salesforce users work with an implementation partner like Higher Echelon, so they get the absolute most out of their Salesforce investment. Higher Echelon is a 5-star Salesforce consulting partner who won Salesforce Military Hiring Partner of the Year. President Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets. He puts that experience to good use at Higher Echelon, where they pride themselves on hiring veterans. Look, not all Salesforce partners are the same. Don't put your company at risk by going with an inferior partner. Higher Echelon is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Did you know that average home equity is at an all-time high? But so is average consumer debt. Even though rates are higher now, you can use your equity to pay off your high consumer debt, student loans, etc., then refi when the rates drop. Don't put off that new home purchase. When rates drop, prices will go up. Buy now and get the best price and then refi when the rates drop. This is the time to talk to the experts at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit northalabamamortgage.com for more information.
This is Bill Crawford with Crawdads Countdown to Kickoff. I've recently had a stem cell procedure on my right knee from Dr. Charles Lee of Regenesis. Stem cells are harvested from your body and re-administered back into your body. This approach is painless, quick, and requires no lengthy rehab. My knee feels better already. Regenesis is located at 4601 Whitesburg Drive in Huntsville, Alabama. Call 256-715-8193 or Google their website for more information.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
We are a championship school, and school is in session.
Makes the catch, makes them bang into each other, stays on his feet, breaks a tackle, scores!
Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide start SEC play against the Georgia Bulldogs. Our coverage begins at 3:30 on your home for Alabama football.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Talking ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Weekday mornings beginning at 7 a.m. only on 97.7 ESPN and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app.
Welcome back, everybody, for the final segment of Crawdads Countdown to Kickoff. I just want to remind everybody you can listen to the game here on WZZN Talk Radio, which is 97.72, or you can get the app and listen to it there. The game is going to be the primo game on ESPN tomorrow night at 6:30. And Barrett, our record on ESPN is?
We are 8-2 in terms of Army wins. The last 5 games that Army has been broadcast on ESPN, we have won. So we're 8-2.
Hey,
take that for what it's worth.
Well, I'll take it. I'll take any kind of stat like that. They're all good. So the old East Carolina Pirates.
Arg.
I don't know, Steve. They kind of scare me a little bit because they're this offense that's very similar to North Texas, where they don't throw the long ball; they throw quick hitter passes. And against North Texas, those quick hitter passes ate our lunch, and the quarterback had enough time to smoke a cigarette back there before he'd throw if he wanted to.
Yeah, we definitely didn't have consistent pressure on there. But again, I think, North Texas was a good warm-up for East Carolina. They passed the ball, the little dink passes, quick slants out on the flats. But they do that in between the 20s. When they get in the red zone, they tend to run the ball some more. But as a result of that, they really don't have a very effective red zone offense. Their red zone offense is currently ranked 121st among 136 FBS teams. So not real effective there. The other aspect of it, Hauser, the quarterback there, again, accurate. He's bumping 70%, similar to what we saw from North Texas. But unlike North Texas quarterback, while he has 5 touchdown passes, he also has 3 interceptions.
Yep.
So he'll give it up, on occasion. So we've got to take advantage of that. We definitely got to get on the plus side of the turnover margin, and it'd be great if that happens in the pass defense.
Well, that was the only aspect of the game last week that was not Army football. We totally controlled the clock. We only had 1 penalty, and unfortunately, the turnovers got us. Their quarterback, though, they do average 331 yards passing a game, so that kind of concerns me a bit. But I think that we are going to go down to see the old Pirates, and we're gonna take them out and take their treasure chest away from them.
Yeah, the other thing that I would say that is in their favor, they have a very mature team. I mean, if you look at, matter of fact, I printed up a lot of the stats and the play-by-play from last year's game at Mikey when we played ECU. Very similar cast of characters in terms of the skill positions on offense. On defense, I read one place that effectively the front 7 are all but seniors. Some of them are 5th-year seniors, and that are redshirt seniors, and only one of them is a transfer portal player. So they've been together. They're going to have some cohesion. Many of the same things that the AD was talking about are advantages typically for us. We're seeing that in ECU. So tough opponent.
Yeah, and they were definitely last year. ECU was a team that didn't look too hot in the beginning of the year, and then the stat I have shows that they went 5-1 to finish the season. So they were trending upwards. And this year there was a lot of hype. I mean, we talked about them as ECU is a threat. They're the threat in the American Conference. They lost to North Carolina State, and it wasn't like a nail biter, but they hung in there a little bit. Beat Campbell, which are the Camels.
Camels. Yes.
Camels.
Oh, yeah.
They beat Coastal Carolina, which Coastal Carolina not too great, but they're still a reputable team. And then last week they lost to BYU, and kind of BYU just kind of spanked them. But I mean, ECU's big. They're tough. They got a good solid team. Their quarterback, I got him for 1,000 yards already in passing. So he's got an arm, and similar to North Texas, they're going to watch that film and say, here's what North Texas did to Army in terms of the passing game. Let's do the same thing. And so I think Army's defense needs to step up in a big way. We got to capitalize on the tackles. We got to make sure we don't give away the big passes, but also contain those short passes. And we don't fumble the ball. Just pray we put some stickum on our hand and hold the ball.
Well, Coach Monken addressed that at his post-game press conference. He did not sound like a very happy camper. And he said, if I see somebody carrying the ball with one hand, like my coach used to say, carrying it like it's a loaf of bread, he said, they're coming out of the game, and I'll put somebody else in. And he did that throughout the day. And really, other than Cale Helms, I don't think anybody else fumbled the ball. So hopefully that was fixed. I think it was fixed in the second half, where we had like 20 minutes time of possession and they had like 9 or something like that. And we played Army football, and what we got to do is carry that over to tomorrow night, not this weekend.
To build upon that, and it'll be interesting who starts at quarterback. I think there's some question about Coleman, and was it just a cramp or did he pull something? I think the fact that he didn't come back into the game was telling. But to me, you've got those games on the schedule that are sort of those gut checks.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could use that term. To me, it's going to be sort of a resiliency check for both teams. They're both coming off of tough losses. Who's going to and on a short week. There hadn't been a whole lot of time to zero in on things that you need to improve upon. It's a quick turnaround, and I just think the culture of Army football gives us the advantage. This is who we are about, and we're preparing future officers, and that's what it's about. Got to be short memory on those mistakes, press forward, believe you can get the job done, and motivate each other toward that end.
Okay, I got a news flash. Boop, 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 boop. Here's the news flash. Coach Monken said that Coleman was okay. He said he was going to be able to play. He said it was just a cramp. And on the game notes that were sent out by the athletic staff, he was listed as number 1.
No.
I thought
there's an or.
Yeah, there's an or.
They're code number 1s.
Well, I didn't see that evil little or. So.
Either way, though, I mean, we talked about it last week. Who do we want? Do we want Dwayne Coleman? Do we want Kel Helms? And it was all Helms, like, oh, look at him. And now it's switched back, almost. It's kind of like, well, Dwayne Coleman really stepped up. Helms threw an interception, fumbled the ball, da-da-da-da. But honestly, those two are just – they're dogs. As Pat McAfee, there's some dogs out there. And so,
and like we talked about over dinner, both quarterbacks have shown that they can play and play well when they are not the presumptive starting quarterback. But both of them, when they came into the game as the starter – they struggled a bit, and as we talked about, over our playing careers, whether capped out as in high school like me, or playing at the academy like you did, Barrett. But it's a different mental preparation.
Oh yeah,
if you know that you're starting, it's a different mental preparation kind of thing, as opposed to I got to be ready to come off the bench. That's a different kind of thing. So I think we may be going back and forth until we find that guy that, okay, you're the starter, and he performs accordingly.
Okay, speaking of performing accordingly, one thing that never does perform bad, but I hate it, is the clock on our radio show. We're running out of time. Barrett, give me a prediction.
So I think this is going to be a close game, but I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think both defenses are going to come out strong, but I think Army's going to take the win. I think Army's going to get 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals, and I think TCU's only going to get 2 touchdowns. So 27-14 Army.
Army 24-23.
Ooh. I'm saying 21-14 Army. Okay. Steve, how many days?
Sir, ma'am, there are 79 and a bit days until Army beats the hell out of Navy at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland.
And folks, as we get out of here, as I always say, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, there's a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, space cadet person, Space Force, space cadet, and also a Coast Guard and Merchant Marine standing a watch so you can enjoy life you do in this country. We're out of here.
What could be better than 0 down on a new Ford? That sounds good to me. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. It's football and camping season, and we've got a brand new Ford to take you there. Right now, Woody Anderson Ford has some strong $399 and $499 leases that come with 0 down and 2 years of premium complimentary maintenance too. Choose a 2025 STX Crew Cab with a 2.7-liter EcoBoost for just $499 a month. Or choose its electric brother, the F-150 Lightning, just $399 a month. Woody Anderson